All right, there we go.
How
Once
y'all
again,
doing?
live. Once
What's up,
again, we're
guys?
back.
What's up? So this week for the pre-PT chat, we have changed it just one day over. It's usually on Thursday nights. This week, we decided to do it on a Wednesday night for a number of reasons. However, next week, we're back to doing it on Thursday night. So thank y'all for joining us. I know a few people maybe watch this on replay just because they may be used to catching it live on Thursdays. But we did not want to miss out this opportunity to really just come in and chat with y'all. It's kind of it's one of the things we really look forward to every single week. Chat with you guys, answering questions. So if y'all have any questions, feel free to drop them below. We'll hit them as we go.
If you guys are new, this is something we do, like you said, every week, usually Thursdays, sometimes Wednesdays. But we come in here, give free information, mentorship, tricks, tips, whatever you want to call it, to help each and every one of you decide, prepare, and transform, that DPT into getting that DPT and becoming a future physical therapist. So the D stands for deciding, helping you decide between, PT, PTA, what school to go to, everything in between, what observations to do, all that good stuff. Then once that's done, we help you prepare, getting started, getting that application ready, getting those observations ready, getting ready for that interview process, that whole thing. Then once you have those two down pat, then we have a process where we help you transform into that DPT student, not just for school, but for life, for your career, for your future patients. Like that thing you have in your mind about, okay, this is why I want to be a physical therapist. We have a process to help you transform into that. So that's what this thing is all about. That's what we're all about. So we're going to get right into it. Let's
Yeah,
go.
man. And as we go, y'all, here's the thing. Like, I know a lot of y'all are like, okay, I feel like some of the struggles that I'm feeling personally might be unique to me. But we want to show y'all that there's so many people that have been like, regardless of where you're at, regardless of whether it's like GPA, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight, whether it's GRE, whether it's time frame, feeling like maybe you're starting the PT game a little later, and all like there's always someone that has been there and has actually gone through to the other side, and that's why we have the Pre-PT Grind podcast. You guys have access to story after story after story of individuals that have done exactly what y'all want to do, have achieved exactly what y'all want to achieve. So for those of you that need a sense of encouragement, need something to get you to realize that it is still very possible because there are so many people that have done it, get on the Pre-PT Grind podcast. Just listen to a few episodes, and I think they will add to everything that we say as well. Because we can talk all day, but for y'all to hear real stories of real people that have gone through it and achieved time and time again, I think that will be an absolute blessing to y'all. But today, let's get it popping. We have low GPA. How can I dominate even with the low GPA? Casey, this is one thing that like really troubles a lot of pre-PT students, mainly because when we look at what schools are looking for, a lot of them are making it pretty clear what they're looking for, right? GPA is usually one of the first things that they look at. You know what I'm saying? Like generally, that's one of the first things they look at, and so as a student, that can be very intimidating. Where you say to yourself, "Okay, I don't fit that first wall of what they look at, so maybe I don't have an advantage." But there are ways to actually make it possible to still be accepted as a PT or pre-PT student into a program, even with a low GPA. But the reality of it is, yes, it is important, and so we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to get kind of technical. We'll break it down, and we have more content coming out for y'all that's going to be free and all that good stuff. That'll break this down even further. But tonight, we just wanted to help y'all alleviate some of the stress that y'all might be feeling from being concerned about low GPAs. All right, Casey, drop some knowledge on us, homie.
Well, first, before we go into that, speaking of stress, I know this is finals week for a lot of you. So let us know in the comments below. Oh, it looks like I'm frozen there. As long as you can hear me, that's all good. But let us know in the comments
Yep.
below how your finals are going. Are you done? Do you have one left,
True.
3 left? Are all 5 or 4 on the same day? Let us know also if you're watching live. Let us know if you're here. comment hashtag team live. If you're watching on replay, comment team replay. But getting into this GPA thing, I want to know from you guys, like, what do you think is like the biggest thing kind of holding you back from getting a high GPA or high grades? Is it, is it not understanding the material? Is it you're not interested in the material? Is it that the prereqs, I'm not going to school for chemistry. I'm going to school for physical therapy. Why does this matter? Is it kind of like you don't care type of thing? Like, is it just hard? Is the material hard? Like, what is it? Let us know. But going a little deeper into GPA, I think, at least for me and a lot of other students, GPA was a problem because we weren't really ready or prepared for what it took. We were just kind of coasting along, not really taking it seriously. And once we talk about know your why and have your plan all the time. Once you like make that concrete and, this is my focus, this is my plan, this is where I want to go, and these are the steps I need to take there, I think that GPA thing kind of balances out itself. Of course, some teachers suck, some teachers are great. There's nuances, of course. But I think once you have that new focus, that new sense of this is what I need to do, this is where I need to go, I think that GPA kind of corrects itself for the most part. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Here's the thing, y'all, with GPAs, kind of like what Casey just says, we have to now ask, because, okay, like, let's be just honest, y'all. Like, some classes suck. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's a reality. Like, for one person, physics final is tomorrow. You gonna kill it. You gonna kill that final. You gotta. We'll talk about physics actually, but physics for one person is going to be very challenging as opposed to another, right? For another person, chemistry is like the greatest thing in the world, but when it comes to any of their like calculus classes or things like that, they're stressing. So our minds all work differently. So the reality of it is there are going to be classes that are easier for Casey than are for me. Now the question is, what do I do about the classes? What do I do about the classes that are difficult? Because we were all like Casey and I were both faced by them. Other students that got into PT school were all faced by them. What did we do about it? And so that's now the question, because like with difficult classes, here's the thing, like we say study hard, stay diligent, all that stuff, whatever. There are honestly there's at least two classes I can think of where I tried my hardest, y'all. Like I was grinding, I was spending time on it, and it did not seem to pan out. And I'm sure there's a number of y'all that have felt the same way. There's a number of y'all that may have felt like, man, like, what's the point? Like, I feel like I've given it everything, but it's still not panning out the way I want it to. So there are still strategies now that we can utilize outside of our own selves that can help us achieve that. Trisha, I hear you. Chemistry was a struggle for me too. All right. So what did I do? One of the first things I did is I found tutors. I know sometimes that's an ego crusher. I don't even care. I was just trying to pass, y'all. So I was like, I'm going to get a tutor. So I found students. So on our campus, they have a program. And I know some of y'all have programs like that in your university. And if you don't, online, there are tutor programs that you guys can, pay online tutors to like literally work on you on a specific subject. And if they suck, you fire them. You know what I mean? Like you got to find somebody that's on it. But I found tutors that were able to break it down for me. Break it down for me in a way that I couldn't understand it after spending hours on it. Break it down to me in a way that maybe I didn't understand from the professor. And that was good to go. Another thing I did was, I tried the professor thing too. Like I made sure to go to the professor and ask them directly, because you have to realize professors have so much power in their hand. It's their class, right? So when professors are choosing grades, especially with grades that can be flexible, they're going to give, it's not an advantage, but they're going to be more apt to give you slack or favor a little bit if you actually show that you are intentional about those classes. First class, y'all, like I know anatomy and physiology is supposed to be hard, but I am terrible at memorizing. I've gotten better at it because I've trained myself, all right? But I made it intentional. Like I used to go to that professor all the time until all these little nerves and like the bones and stuff were general enough that I could get them. But when it got too specific, it was difficult. Like origins, insertions, all that stuff, it was difficult. So I was like, yo, professor, I see your hours are Tuesday from 3 to 6. Is it okay if I come at 4 o'clock? You have an open slot there. And I kept coming over and over and over and over. I even brought cookies one time. You know what I'm saying? Like, we gonna eat cookies and you help me out, professor. All right. But I kid you not, my grades started to change, not because I got better at it, but because I was seeking help outside of myself. If the teacher didn't work, I got the tutor. If the tutors didn't work, I had my friend group. I had 2 or 3 people that I had one study partner, and now I'm exchanging with them. If they understand it, they're going to try to break it down in a different way. So all in all, GPA is a reality. GPA is going to be, like, for most programs, that is one thing that they're going to look at. Yes, there are programs where you can get in without necessarily having a higher GPA because they look at other things, which honestly, in a perfect world, I think that's where it should go. I think every school should just kind of not really be as considerate. I mean, I don't think GPA should be as much of a factor, but the reality of it is most schools see it as such. So we have to figure out what we can do to improve our GPAs. We have to figure out what we can do to set ourselves up to actually, be a good applicant. And the thing is, now for y'all that are saying, oh, dang, I just finished my sophomore year and my GPA is low. So even if I kill it these next 2-3 years, my GPA cumulatively is not going to be that good. There are programs that look at your last 60 credit hours. So now this is where you can strategize. You can say, okay, I can still set myself up. I can say, all right, so University of St. Augustine will look at my last 60 credit hours. This university will do the same thing. Cool. Those are my target universities. Y'all hear how we always say pick your top 5 universities? That's one of your top 5. Now you say, okay, what have I done wrong these past few years? Maybe I've tried everything. What have I not tried? If y'all need a strategy call, you hit us up. We talk to y'all about it. We figure it out, what you have not tried, and we piece it together. But ultimately, guys, school is going to have its up. School is going to have its down. There's going to be classes that are easy for us or like easier to absorb, other classes that are tougher. It's part of it. Don't feel like you are don't feel like you're less able to accomplish it because of that feeling, because we all went through that. We all felt that. We all were discouraged. We all were stressed. Casey can tell you about that. I remember just being like, what in the world? Like, I remember hitting on my girlfriend and be like, yo, like, did I pick the wrong career path? Just because you just have those moments where you feel so low, right? But our point is to say that it is absolutely possible. This is not about being the smartest person in the whatever, because I could tell y'all right now, there are people that can pull off some grades but can't hold a conversation with a person. And if you're going to be a physical therapist and you can't talk to a person, you can't try to figure out how to fix their problems, even if it's just listening to like their stresses and their anxieties and all that stuff. If you can't even do that, then what the heck does a 4.0 even mean, right? So maybe you shouldn't even be in PT school. So, okay, all right, I should take a little break. But that's the first bit of what I want to share. Casey, take it away.
So let's talk about why GPA matters in the first place. I put up a question yesterday to kind of get you guys to think and kind of like put on the other shoe. So if you had your own, for those of you who didn't see it, I asked if you had your own school, PTA school, like what would be that type of person you accepted? Like who would it really be? And a lot of people said, of course, you got to be passionate, all this good stuff. GPA kind of matters. And that's because, like most of us, our GPA was kind of in the middle. And that's okay. That's fine. But I want you to understand like why they hold it in such a high importance. Because their tuition dollars, their form of business is in that seat that you're paying tuition for. So they want to be able to trust you that you can pay them to keep their business running. Yeah. And that's what that high GPA gives them. It gives them a sense of security. It tackles their fears and frustrations, makes them feel okay with accepting you. It makes them trust you. Okay, like if you had your own school, just think about it. Yeah, you would definitely take the person with the higher GPA. It's kind of a no-brainer. But if we're in our own seat, if we're kind of like self-absorbed, self-secluded, and like, oh, just poor me, just please accept me. I'm different than all the other people. I'm the only one with this low GPA because I didn't do this, I didn't do that. There are thousands of other applicants like that. So you have to switch it a little bit, come from their point of view and be kind of empathetic to what they're viewing. Then once you understand that, then you can take a step back and be like, okay, I understand why this is the case. Now I have a new sense of focus. Now, since I understand their point of view, I can come into the interview, come into my classes, get these good grades, and present that to them like, okay, I know this is what you're feeling. I know this is what you're thinking. I know this is, you're scared of this. I have improved in these ways to conquer your fears and conquer your objectives. And if you, that would be so comforting if you owned a PT school or your job. Here, let me tell you this. I don't know this for sure. I have no idea. I have no background in this, what I'm about to say, but these admission directors' jobs could be on the line depending on who they accept.
Ooh.
Just think about that a little bit. I have no background in this. I haven't talked to anybody, but if they accept 50% of a class with a low GPA and you guys all fail out, they could be fired for choosing the wrong people. Like, that's a serious deal. So if they can go with the people with a 3.6, 7, 8, 4.0, they're going to do that to protect themselves. Like, this can be real. I don't know, I don't know, but just putting myself in their shoes, that could be some of where this is coming from. Like, that is a big problem. Now, when we move over to GRE and stuff like that, I don't know how some schools do it differently, but grades are super important. Of course, it's not everything. It's absolutely not everything. But if you can't handle the grades in undergrad, myself, Joseph, all the other SPTs, clinicians, physical therapists in this group following us, they know once you get into PT school, it's a whole nother game. It's not undergrad anymore. If you can't handle that undergrad material, as bad as this might sound, a stab to the heart, whatever it is, you got to be able to handle that stuff in undergrad to be able to handle what's being thrown at you in PT school. They're not looking at these grades for no reason, just to be like, prejudice against low GPAs. Like, this is serious stuff. You got to understand at the undergrad level, because this is a clinical doctor profession. This is real stuff. So that's kind of my spiel, my kind of devil's advocate play on low GPA. Now, once you conquer their fears and say in their frustrations, you address those and prove that you can address those fears and frustrations, then they start to care about everything else. Then that's where your letters of recommendation, observation hours, podcasts you listen to, people you've talked to. Then that's where that all comes in. But they don't really care about that unless they know you can make it through the program, pay them enough, then pass the boards on the first try. Then they're like, okay, we can trust Aaron. We can trust Allison. We can trust Trisha. Who else is on here? Sarah. That's when they feel comfortable with you. And that's when you can move on and be accepted, no doubt. So that was my kind of thing.
Yeah. This is such like an interesting thing, but for y'all that have been on dates before, right? If you're going out on a date with somebody for the first time, you don't know their whole life. Like, you don't know everything. What they've done is they've given you enough for you to think, this is a potential match, right? So maybe, like, there's the superficial stuff. Oh, we look good together. Yeah, or whatever. But, like, there might be a few things. Like, hey, I love the way she treats, like, her little sister. Like, she takes care of her in such and such a way, so she must have a great heart. I love the way it's all these little tiny things that we see superficially, right? And then we're like, maybe they're kind of cool. It's not until we get to, the actual dating part, date 1, date 2, date 3, changing settings, not just the dinner. Maybe we go to an amusement park. Maybe we, spend some, like, not just watching a movie, like actually getting to know them. It's not until you go through that process that you actually ultimately decide, oh, this person is actually not a fit for me, or wow, like it's like we're meant for each other. So for PT programs, it's the same thing. The grades are like that first layer right before they start dating y'all, right? Like, that's what it is for What's up, Aaron? How you doing, brother? Like, but that's what it's like for PT programs. That's what they have to essentially do. But y'all realize that there's people that have started off pretty shakily with relationships, but they still get it right. They still come in with the personality. They still treat them well. So there's so many other dynamics that we can add. And this is what we've shared in other videos. If you guys want us to talk to y'all about more regarding that, we can do that. But there's so many other things we can do to be dynamic as pre-PTs so that we are a better match, so that, like what Casey was saying, the word was trust, right? They're trusting that you're coming in that you will succeed throughout the journey, and that you will come out a successful student. Like, that looks good for them. That looks good for you, right? So there's all these other things you can show. But one of the biggest ones, y'all, especially with a lower GPA, is showing them that y'all can get your grind on. Like, as in, for them to see you go from a lower GPA and then suddenly just snap and like shoot up, for them, that's a, oh, like either it was like an anomaly, or if you were actually able to raise it and maintain it, then it's like, yo, this student is not joking. It's not joking. That actually adds the trust. That there's so much more for you to talk about, especially in the interview. Y'all could talk about, hey, like, honestly, I thought I was doing things right, but it hit a moment where I realized that I wasn't showing how badly I wanted it through what I was willing to do well academically. And when that hit, I started getting tutoring. I hit a pre-PT grind. Look at that little plug. But no. I started hitting on my professors. I had a study partner that was willing to keep me on my grind. And it wasn't until that point that my grades actually started to shift. That's why I applied to this university, because y'all look at the last 60 credit hours, all these different things. But I'm letting y'all know that y'all are not getting the student that was having the 2.1 GPA. Y'all are having the one that's been averaging like a 3.4, 3.5 recently, straight up, because I'm coming in here to get my doctorate or physical therapy, whatever. Like, so many people have started with a low GPA. Like, see, Aaron LeBauer, my GPA was only a 3.2. Look at that. Look at that. Opened up his own PT practice right out of school, dominating it. My grades shot way up in PT school in comparison to college. This is what you finally wanted to learn. That's so true. Matthew, I agree so much. Like, there's something about the classes that you actually want to take time in. Like, if for y'all it's anatomy, it probably means you're in a good place. It means that you're in the right, area, because y'all like the human body. But if for y'all it's anatomy, it's like, yo, anatomy, I could kill it because I could spend as much time as I want on it. It actually sticks because I actually want to learn it. And then physics comes and I'm like, what in the world am I looking at? Right? So, like, it feels like that, but that's just part of the process. It's pushing through. It's finding ways to set yourself up so that when you get into PT school, you actually have that opportunity. You actually get the chance to then get into a physical therapy program where you're able to learn the things you want to learn, where you're able to spend time with other PT students that are just as hungry for succeeding in that academic program as you are. And so it's a game changer. Like, I remember my first semester in PT school being like, yo, I have never seen like students that are all wanting to learn. Because I'm used to classrooms where, like, there's the ones that are like borderline teacher's pet. You got the ones that are just trying to, come in and do well and do their thing. Then you got the ones that just do not care and are just trying to coast through the class. If they pass the class, they pass. If they don't, they don't. There's always been that trajectory, like, especially in undergrad. But in PT school, it's like everybody was serious. Everybody was on their A game, but it's because they were excited to learn the material. We want to get y'all to the point where you can actually start enjoying everything you're learning, where you can start applying it because you're passionate about physical therapy. This goes back to understanding why you're going into the field. Is it what you really want, or is it something that just looks like a good profession? Because that answer right there determines so much. It determines what you're willing to put, what you're willing to invest time-wise, and so much more. So I hope that's helpful in putting it together.
Well, yeah, let's see if we have any questions. If you guys have questions, drop them below. We'll address them now. But I went on a little ramble about like why GPA matters, but there are so many people at the same time who have gotten in with a low GPA. Just check out our podcast. We have those people on there for that very reason. So this is not the end of the world. It's just going to take, some more work and some more tweaking and some more tricks to do that. You just got to get their attention, like we talked about last week, and prove to them that you can handle everything and make them trust you. That's really the only, of course, there might be other things, like some other nuances, but you got to get their, if you have a low GPA, got to get their attention, number one, have to make them trust you, then you prove to them that you can do it, or prove to them, then make them trust you. That's all you really got to do. So how can you get their attention? We talked about that last week. Social media, you can visit the school, email them, get on a call, any way you can. Just let them know you're there. Then prove to them that you can handle this information. Volunteer places, listen to podcasts, bring up your grades, of course, get great letters of recommendation, especially if you can get a letter of recommendation from that professor, you were like getting a C or a D or a low grade in, like, that would be
Power.
crazy. That'd be super powerful. Then after that, then automatically they trust you. Automatically. So it's
That's
not a
it.
sure way, but that will exponentially increase your chances of getting in with a low GPA. Let's see.
Got any questions? As questions are coming in, y'all, just remember, this is an absolutely amazing profession. Let's see, I barely got the score I needed on my GRE. Bro, Aaron, I hear you, man. I hear you. But y'all, like, do y'all see what I'm saying, though? Like, someone like Aaron LeBauer, who's an extremely successful, like, cash physical therapist, who's doing absolutely, like, phenomenally, like, in terms of his career, everything, whatever. Like, y'all see what I mean by the fact that, like, GPA actually doesn't necessarily match up with who you are and your value to the profession. This is why I say, like, you guys having a low GPA, don't let that bring you down, like, as an individual. Don't let that bring you down saying, like, maybe I'm not built for this. Because that's not what, like, right now, it's just about getting into a program, right? That's all it's about. But for you, it's about understanding, like, what is your reason for coming into physical, like, what is your passion level for the field? What is your passion level for seeing people succeed? Like, are you, like, what is your reasoning behind that? Because once you establish that, then that's when you're able to then figure out what are the pieces I need to just get into a program. Because if I get into a program and I finish that doggone thing, then shoot, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Like I said, there are people that have finished with 4.0s that are not cut out to deal with people, period, y'all. So understand that dynamic. So maintain confidence in the fact that if this is what you want to do because of the right reasons, stay on the track. Don't let it deter you. Don't feel defeated emotionally because you're not where you need to be. Because there are so many other currently successful clinicians who have been there and have gotten in and have concluded, and now they're absolutely dominating the profession.
Got it. That's it. Oh, last little study tip, because I was studying earlier today. I have a tutor right now helping me with the boards, and he's always telling us to look for a deeper understanding and always ask the question why. Whatever that material is, whatever the concept is, whatever the topic is. Doesn't matter if you already understand. Well, if you already have the answer, say it's multiple choice. Okay, it's B. Okay, I know why it's B because I have the baseline knowledge of whatever was in the book. Now, why is it answer B? What part of that answer don't you completely understand? Okay, you got it right, but another question could be based on the previous question and go a little deeper into that. And you have to understand the whole concept of the whole story. Let's just say it's the biological, test or something like that. You have to understand the whole, what's it called? Glucose. What's that thing with the Krebs cycle or something? Let's just take that. In order to answer this, in order to answer a certain question on the Krebs cycle, you have to understand the deeper meaning of that whole concept. So always ask the question, why? Always go for a deeper understanding with whatever topic it is, with whatever question, with whatever test. That's helped me a lot with boosting my GPA. I went from like a 3.4 to like a 3.7 over a summer, and it was exponentially a game changer for me. So I hope it helps.
That's it. I love it, y'all. It's always a pleasure to serve you guys. We will continue coming on here. We have podcasts every single week, y'all. This week's podcast episode was an absolute blessing to just experience. Casey and I, Chanel Norman, she has an amazing story. If you guys like stories, that's definitely an episode y'all don't want to miss. We will continue providing value. Let us know what you guys would like to know about. And we will continue picking your brains on things that you would value as pre-PTs, because our goal is to see you guys succeed. Our goal is to see you guys achieve your goals and dreams of becoming physical therapists, but not only, standard physical therapists, but the physical therapists that will completely move and transition and shift our profession. So y'all have a great Wednesday night. We will see y'all next time. Bye.